Many years ago, there was a Danish storyteller named Hans Christian Andersen. He wrote about a vain emperor, two clever swindlers, and a child that said something out loud that a whole kingdom was too afraid to admit. I chose this story because underneath the humor is a question I ask often, as a debater and as someone who's seen people force themselves into agreeing something that isn't true. What does it take to be the one person to say the truth when everybody else decides that it's safer to lie? Please enjoy The Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen. Once in a kingdom so devoted to appearances that its emperor thought of nothing but fine new clothes. Two strangers arrived at the palace gates. "Your Majesty," they said, bowing low, "we are weavers of the rarest cloth in the world. Cloth so fine, so light, it seems invisible, but only to those unfit for their positions, or hopelessly stupid. To everyone else, it is the most magnificent fabric ever woven." The emperor's eyes lit up. "Cloths that would show me which of my ministers are fools? Weave it at once. I will pay you in gold." So the swindlers set up their looms and sat night and day pretending to weave, though the looms held nothing at all. Word spread through the palace, and curiosity gnawed at everyone. But no one dared visit the loom alone. Fear to strange arithmetic. It is easier to doubt your own eyes than to admit out loud that you might be the fool. The emperor, growing impatient, sent his oldest and most trusted minister to check on the cloth. The minister walked in and looked at the empty loom and felt his stomach drop. He saw nothing at all. "How beautiful," he said, his voice not quite steady. "The colors, exquisite. I shall tell His Majesty it comes along splendidly." He was not a stupid man. He simply could not bear to be the first to say so. A second official was sent soon after. A younger man who prided himself on his sharp eyes. He too stood before the bare loom and felt the same cold drop in his chest. "The pattern," he murmured, "is unlike anything I've ever seen. Bold, yet delicate." He left more quickly than he'd arrived, as though speed could outrun doubt. One official after another was sent, and one after another returned with the same trembling praise, until the whole court had convinced itself the cloth existed, simply because no one would be the one to say it didn't. At last, the emperor went to see it himself, trailed by his ministers. He stood before the loom. He blinked. He saw the bare wood, the empty air where cloth should be, and felt for one long, cold moment real fear. "Magnificent," he declared. "I approve. I shall wear it in tomorrow's procession." The swindlers dressed him with great ceremony, miming buttons, smoothing invisible sleeves, and the emperor turned before the mirror, admiring an outfit that was not there. The next morning the procession began. Trumpets, banners. The emperor stood beneath a golden canopy in his new clothes, and the streets were lined with his subjects, all of whom had heard by now the rumor of a cloth invisible to fools. "How fine," they whispered to one another. "The train, the colors, magnificent." Not one of them would be the exception. Not one of them would say what every single pair of eyes could plainly see, until A small child standing at the front of the crowd where no one had taught her yet what she was supposed to say. She pointed and simply said, "But he hasn't got anything on." For a moment, no one moved. Then the words rippled backwards to the crowd, a father repeating what his child had said, a neighbor telling a neighbor, the child is right, he hasn't got anything on, until the whole street was saying it, first in whispers, then aloud, then almost as a single voice, relieved to finally say what it had known all along. The emperor heard it, exactly as before, because he could think of nothing else to do. And his chamberlains walked behind him, solemnly holding up a train that was not there at all.